everyone, and welcome to the LTH product briefing. I'm Nikki Shaver, CEO of Legal Tech Hub, and I'm here today with Mike Gormley, sales manager with Cobblestone. Welcome, Mike.
Thanks, Nikki. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So we're here today to talk about and see some of Cobblestone, one of the well-known CLM systems in our industry. Mike, just to intro us to the product, can you give us a sense of how long Cobblestone has been around and how it's evolved over time?
Absolutely, definitely. And I would love to just pull a screen share up quickly to provide some insight around that. So, Cobblestone has been around since 1995. We were one of the very first providers of commercial off-the-shelf contract management software. Now, back when it was first founded by our EVP and co-founder, it was more of a centralized repository for tools around post-execution tracking and alerts around things like key date alerts, reminders, renewals, and more of a searching and reporting tool. However, between now and then, the product has definitely grown and improved to really span more of the entire contract lifecycle, which we're seeing at a very brief glance on this slide. So the system can be utilized to really track the entire lifecycle of an agreement. So whether that's as early as an initial purchase requisition or request for service, and then it goes through that entire lifecycle, whether the internal organization is drafting or authoring the document with a standard template, we can have rule-based clause inclusion and field values being pulled in. We also offer AI extraction tools for contract review, analysis, and auto red lines. We'll even be touching on that in just a few seconds. And then it follows through that entire life cycle. So automating and streamlining negotiations, whether just internally or online between internal and external vendors, all the way through to reviews, approvals, signatures. And then it doesn't stop at signature. We have a lot of those post-contract signing tools, automated key date alerts for renewals reminders, but also tools in tracking to stay on top of things like contract obligations, milestones, KPIs, deliverables, all the way to contract closeout, compliance, reporting, risk analysis, and then whether it is contract expiration or if it then ties to renewals or extensions, amendments, that's tracked really all the way from initial request to end of the life cycle.
Terrific, thank you. And so that's a very complete solution. And I know that you've been working at Cobblestone with machine learning and various forms of AI for some time, and have recently included as well some generative AI features. Mike, what are you going to be showing us today?
Definitely. So basically what I want to touch on today is one key AI feature within our enterprise solution. And basically that's going to be tied to our Visdom artificial intelligence functionality. Basically what we're going to be walking through is the main use case tied to this is we are looking to initiate a new contract for review, but it's coming off of a vendor or a third-party contract. So we're not familiar with the standard terms that they're providing. And basically what the tool and what we're going to be touching on is how the tool can be used to extract key data from that document, take that data to review and compare to standard clauses or approved language that your legal team is acceptable moving forward with. And then we're also going to walk through some tools for streamlining the redlining process, whether that's easy clause replacement, or we can even utilize tools to have the system automate those redlining process based off of approved fallback language or approved contract playbooks within the system. So what we can do here, basically we're looking at our main dashboard view, and these dashboards are configurable, and we offer a lot of out-of-the-box options. So depending on the user's expected role or department within the organization, this landing page will be tailored to fit their day-to-day expectations of the system. But what we're going to do is that use case is we have a document from the third-party vendor, whether that's a Word doc or a PDF, we can drag it right within here. And we're basically now going to push this document through our internal review process. So what we're going to be routing this through is a contract review. And we're going to see in just a second here that that document is now going to be pushed through our Visdom artificial intelligence engine. Like I briefly touched on, the first thing that this engine is going to do is it's going to automatically OCR that document. So any individuals who are like, well, hey, we work off of PDFs that the vendors send us, that's going to be OCR'd to be paged, indexed, and text searchable. But then we're going to see it did a few things. We have the image of the document for quick reference on the left-hand side and our list of fields that are unique to our organization on the right-hand side, but we can see it extracted a lot of that detail. what is the title of the contract? Who is the company or counterparty we're doing business with? But if we scroll down, it can also pull out key terms or conditions within the document. Now, keep in mind, these are all configurable. We have a lot of organizations that are like, well, we don't care about service deliverables, but we're not seeing force majeure or indemnification being pulled out. This is all unique to each individual organization and what they classify as high risk or important clauses for them. So we can see it pulled out things like service deliverables language, but not only did it pull out the term itself, it can pinpoint specific details within that. So here's that initial payment due date to ensure we're staying on top of obligations, or project scope language and project costs. Now, that's one portion of the Visdom AI. We have that data extract. If we jump over to our clauses tab, this is then going to provide the user with a full breakdown of all terms and clauses found within the document.
The fact that these extraction types are configurable, does that mean if you are a company that has a different type of obligation they'd like to track, do you need to do any training in the system to ensure that it's able to extract that information successfully, consistently, reliably?
So it's a great question, and it would be a little mixture of both. So we do offer quite a few out-of-the-box standard extraction points. One of the initiatives that we're working through is called our Million Clause Initiative, where we want to train Visdom to look and find up to a million standard clauses. So really, from our experience with clients and organizations utilizing the tool, there is already some starting points for those extractions. But the Visdom tool does come with automated machine learning. So as organizations more heavily utilize the tool, they can begin to train it to be more unique to their business process. And we can even see an example of that here. This enables users to say, hey, assignment language is more important to us. Or like you said, obligations are a huge factor for us. We can train this model right on the fly to ensure it is more accurate for every next document that we load.
Got it. So it doesn't require enormous resources on the organization side.
I would say not. No. And then Cobblestone even also offers services if organizations want to completely outsource that. We offer a lot of services to work with organizations to determine, hey, what's important for you? And we can also train that on our end as well to streamline that even more.
Thank you.
Perfect. Now, coming back to this, so along with being able to tie to tools such as adding training data, the system does offer a workflow engine that can have rule-based automated notices going out to internal individuals, prompting them to review a contract. But let's say there is language found within the document that maybe is a little outside of our norm, and we want to loop in a subject matter expert to get their review and opinion on this. We also are enabled to give users the ability to create one-off tasks to notify those SMEs to come in and review this section of the document. The final one that we're looking at here, this enables the user to have a quick side-by-side comparison to see, okay, here is the language the vendor's proposing. Here is your standard language within your clause library. It provides us with that side-by-side comparison to say, okay, how differentiating is our language? Now, a step beyond that, it would then enable the user to say, well, the language they're proposing does not align with our standard playbook or the clauses that we typically recommend. We then have the ability to come in here and tell the system we want to strike their language and insert ours as a redline version of this document.
And are you able to redline or to see red lines of their clause against your clause as well?
You will be able to. So that is going to be the immediate next thing we see. I'm not going to manually select the clause because I want to also show the ability for our Visdom tool to automate that process even more. We can route this through an auto redline process, which will basically take the task away from the user and have the system automatically strike and redline clauses based off of their contract playbook or approved language that they have set up within the tool.
Right.
So tying into that, once we do save and continue, we have all of the relevant extracted data and attributes that we want to store within our system. It's going to now create a new record within the tool. Immediately upon saving, all of the metadata values that we're tracking can now begin being searched and reported off of. If we now jump down directly to that tool I was referencing, if we scroll down here to our files and attachments table where that file is being stored, we now have the ability to route this through what we call our auto redline engine. So once I confirm I want to take action on that, if we jump back up to the top of our page, it's going to basically give the user status updates as it progresses through this review. So we can see, hey, it's confirming that it's being routed through auto redline. It's going to let us know that it's looking for those clauses clauses, comparing it to preferred clauses based off of their contract playbook. And then within a few seconds or about a minute, we're going to see that it does give us a confirmation that a new version has been uploaded due to contradicting language being found within the tool. And then simply, if we come in here and refresh the page, once that auto redline does run, we're going to see that a new version of that document is automatically uploaded. So again, even as we're going through these redlinings and those auto redlines, the system is going to fully track and manage the version control of that document. So users can be confident that whether it's 2 different versions of a document or 20 different or 200 different iterations, we're going to always see that transition from start to finish. And then we also have tools to do document comparison. So a lot of times if a vendor sends over a final clean version of a PDF, they want to compare that to the latest agreed version just to make sure nothing was slipped in at the very end. But we can see now we got that confirmation. If I scroll down, once this attachments table renders, we can see here we have that new version of the document with that Visdom auto redline. And if I open that up here, we're going to see that was marked up within the native Microsoft Word format. So all of those changes are kept right within the native Word tool.
That's great. And presumably you could track the versions as well. So you know what was, yeah, terrific.
Absolutely. Within that attachment table, there is a full version control column to show what is the latest and greatest. And then that table offers a lot of options as well for setting up like folder structures to kind of better organize that. If you have a folder for previous versions, amendments, etc. But we can see here, once we enable editing, if I scroll down towards the bottom of this, we're going to see that assignment clause that the vendor proposing contradicted our business process and our playbook. So it struck their language, insert ours as a standard red line, and then it has a little comment letting us know it was located and replaced by Visdom.
I like the fact that it specifically highlights that it was done by Visdom, so you can be aware exactly what the computer has done versus what the people have done.
Absolutely. And then as we continue with that user intervention, we also offer complementary Word plugin tools that will give users direct access to things like their clause library or their playbook or fallback or alternate language. So this can even enable users to connect the Microsoft Word document to features within Cobblestone to continue streamlining that negotiation of the document.
That's very cool.
Absolutely. And then, like we mentioned, that is the portion I wanted to touch on for this small briefing. But like I mentioned, the Visdom tool doesn't stop at just that. We offer a lot of automated risk analysis, risk mitigation, field recommendations based off of trends and language that the Visdom tool finds as organizations utilize that feature.
And of course, Visdom is just one part of Cobblestone, which also does many more things, as you showed at the beginning. So Mike, thank you so much for the demo. That was great. It gives people a real insight. For anyone who would like to know more about Cobblestone and Visdom AI, we will be putting a URL across the bottom of the screen. Feel free to reach out for a full demo. And Mike, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you all as well. And looking forward to future conversations with people who are interested in Cobblestone and our offerings.
Thank you. And thanks to all of you for joining. See you next time.